Number one, this is article number one. No treaty of peace that tacitly reserves issues for a future war shall be held valid. So remember, we want to achieve perpetual peace among nations. We want a world of peace, not a world of war. How do we achieve it? According to Kant, the first preliminary article is this: no treaty of peace that tacitly reserves issues for a future war shall be held valid. Well, what does that remind us of? He clarifies by saying a mere truce, a suspension of hostilities, is not equivalent to peace, which means the end of hostilities, the end of all hostilities, rather. So if there are unresolved issues when you make peace, or let's say have a ceasefire, it's not going to be permanent. This is not perpetual peace that's going to be achieved. So let's say, for example, you've got an occupation that hasn't been dealt with, or ethnic cleansing, or an apartheid state. One group of people oppressing another, and they make a truce. It's not going to last. There will always be conflict between these two peoples because the underlying issues have not been resolved. If you want to have perpetual peace, you must resolve all of the issues. You don't reserve them for a future conflict. In other words, if you're not making peace in good faith, it's not going to last. So I'm also reminded of the Treaty of Versailles, which was thought by many. This ended World War I, of course, and it was thought by many to be the basis for World War II, because the Treaty of Versailles was so unfair to the Germans. It sowed the seeds for future conflict. Many issues were left unresolved, and so it was a peace which merely represented a temporary cessation of hostilities, but would lead to a future war. This is also called a Carthaginian peace because it's the kind of peace that the Romans imposed on Carthage. It was such a brutal peace, such a unfair negotiation or settlement of the conflict that, of course, it was going to lead to a future conflict. Okay, so if you're going to negotiate peace, you need to do so in good faith, and you need to deal with all the issues. Don't reserve them for future conflicts, because otherwise you won't have perpetual peace. It'll just be a temporary peace.